she's really a very handsome woman, isn't she? Yeah. Attraction usually starts out physical. Okay, Jonathan, you want to date her? Okay. Attraction to another person starts out physical. It's hard to get to know the person's personality if they look like this and you're sort of off-put and won't ask them out. Okay? So it starts out, she was considered a good-looking woman in her day. Of course, that was a few years ago. 1920 to 1956, we've got Humphrey Bogart, we've got Lauren Bacall. Okay? They were considered very attractive people for their time. Today, people still look like that, right? We don't dress like that. Men don't wear hats. I mean, they wear caps, but they don't wear these hats. Then we moved into the later part of the 50s, and we've got James Dean, who was considered a good-looking guy, and Jane Russell. What's going on with Jane Russell's figure?
Full and voluptuous.
Okay? She's very voluptuous, but she's got some shape. Queen Victoria, a lot of the clothes they wore, they could be large women, they could be small women, but it was hard to tell because there were a lot of underclothes and heavy garments. But here we get into this very voluptuous, full-figured, hourglass shape, whatever. She is not a size 2, by no means. I forget, Marilyn Monroe was a 14 or something like that. Of course, sizes have adjusted over the years. But still, Marilyn Monroe, Jane Russell, these very shapely figures that don't seem to be a lot in the news. She's shaped pretty much like a boy, right? She's a prepubescent boy. She's straight up and down. She doesn't have much of a chest. She doesn't have much in the way of hips. She's just straight up and down with these huge eyes and these giant fake eyelashes.
She's actually got a figure nowadays.
She's gotten a little bit older. She put on a little bit of weight, which is sometimes a good thing. She was very, very thin. And I, even though he's aging a little bit, I still think he's a good-looking guy. George Clooney.
Oh, yeah.
To me, George Clooney is like Rock Hudson and Clark Gable. Good-looking really guys.
Number 7.
So good-looking guys. Jennifer Aniston, who I don't think is all that great-looking, but people think she's beautiful. Matt Damon. And, what's his name?
Brad
Pitt. Her ex-husband, right? And look at Miss America. How does Miss America look? She look like Jane Russell? She doesn't look anything like Jane Russell, right? She's very, very thin. And people have done research on, because we have the bust, the waist, and the hip measurement of all the Miss America contestants. And people have analyzed this data. I'm sorry? Well, because it used to be during the Miss America pageant, remember, Pete? They'd say, and this is Miss Utah, and her measurements are 36, 24, 36, or whatever it was. They tell you the measurements of these people. So they've analyzed this data over time, and they found that they've gotten thinner and thinner and thinner over time. Okay? They do bust to hip measurement, bust to waist ratios, and they've really changed drastically over time. The interesting thing is, in any given one of these eras that we've looked at, certain characteristics of certain people were considered attractive. And most of the community would agree that person's attractive. But those indicators or characteristics, whether it's very thin like Twiggy or very full and voluptuous like Jane Russell, those characteristics have changed over time. So the attributes or the characteristics that we consider attractive have changed over time. Okay, they're not. People have done lots of research. You get an increased pulse rate and your blood pressure increases. Your pulse rate increases approximately 5 to 10 beats per minute. Now, most of this is imperceptible and you don't realize it. Rapid breathing, some people hyperventilate when they see someone. You always see caricatures of this on TV, things like that. Tensed muscles and better posture. What happens when someone attractive comes in the room? Stand up straight. The men thrust out their chest. The women often thrust out their chest. Suck in your belly, right? Okay? It's like, you see in the cartoon that the guy who's really got a big belly, and the cute girl walks in and he sucks it in up to his chest on the cartoon. Did you see that?
Yeah.
It's really macho. Tense muscles, better posture. Blushing or being flushed. You get a little of that, little redness in your cheeks. Some women get it a lot on their chest, or the upper part of their chest right here in the lower neck, upper chest area. Get a little flushed. your arteries and your veins dilate, and that causes that redness to come to the surface. Agitation. How many of you, there's someone and you're attracted to that person and you start whirling your hair? You know, girls with long hair, you see them. Or just, yeah, absent-minded scratching, or you got long hair and you're flipping it back, right? Or a guy, he's adjusting his tie, or he's adjusting his hat, or you put your hands in your pockets and you take your hands out of your pockets, and then you don't know what to do with yourself. Okay, so that little bit of agitation, okay? Your eyes, the interesting thing about your eyes is what happens to your pupils? They dilate. What else happens in your eyes? Your tear ducts produce some moisture. Okay, we know that people who have shiny eyes, if I look at Talisa right now, the lights are reflecting in her eyes. Okay? If there was no reflection, we call that dull eyes. Well, that's the sign of not being healthy per se. There should be some sort of a reflection, but when you have certain illnesses, your eyes are not. Oscar's trying to check out her eyes, right? Can you see the reflection from that? I don't know if you can from that angle. Yeah. So that's good. The moisture gives you more of a glisten to your eyes. It gives you more of that same old healthy glow that you get with the flushing. Think about why you're attracted to people so that you can mate with them if we go back, many years ago. Right? You want to find the healthiest mate, don't you? Because you want to mate with this person, you want your offspring to be healthy. Because they're in your genes. That's sort of the drive of animals. So if you look for people who have a little bit of pink in their skin and have nice glistening eyes, chances are they're healthier than the person with dull eyes where there's no reflection. People who are just pale like me all the time, those sorts of things. And then body orientation and distance. If you're not attracted to the person, you'll stand a little farther away. If you're not attracted to the person, you're standing close. You might stand at an angle so you can see, you can scan the room for more potential mates, whatever. But if you're attracted, you'll stand or sit closer and you'll be square-shouldered. So you'll face head-on so I can give you my full attention. Okay? So it's interesting. So watch your friends. Go to a party and watch your friends and see how they act and react to different people. And see if you can figure out who they were attracted to and who they weren't. And sometimes you don't realize it yourself. It's these little subtle things. Okay? Nobody takes their pulse when they, let me walk up to you and take my pulse. Let me walk up to you and test to see who I'm attracted to. No, nobody does that.